This week on the show.
And all the things I created from home, he didn't like. And everything that I made in art school, he's like, okay, yeah, put that in the portfolio and you might get accepted. Right. And I was really sad from that day. I was like, how could it be that whatever I make in school is what's going to be accepted?
Victoria D. Wu.
If you see my art today, it's always very colorful, and I think that's always been part of me. I love the feeling of paint and the colors. I love vibrant colors, so I think that's what stuck with me throughout all these years.
Painter, illustrator.
That sounds like the dream, right? To be the unforgettable, like top forever. I never wanted that. I admired what they were. I didn't want to be famous. It scared me to be in the spotlight, I guess. I want my art to be in the spotlight, but not me specifically.
Let's talk to Victoria D. Wu on the Very Creative Podcast. Victoria D. Wu, how are you?
Hi, good, you?
I'm good. Thanks for coming on my podcast.
Yeah, it's nice to see you and connect with you virtually.
Yeah, well, there's not that many options right now, so it's kind of crazy out there.
Yeah.
But thank you for joining me. Do you want to introduce yourself to everyone?
Yeah, sure. Hi, my name is Victoria. I am a painter and illustrator, I guess. If you're talking about my creative field, that's what I am. But I work in an office job during the day and do art at night, I guess. And I'm just happy to be here. So,
what's your office job?
Oh, let's see. It's called administrative coordinator, and I help manage a society and plan events, which is nice. I still get to do some creative stuff, so I enjoy it. I was always scared of having an office job, sitting at a desk, staring at a screen. I'm like, that's not for me. But I've actually enjoyed it, so I'm happy about that.
That was actually one of my questions, because I know you have a full-time job, and with us creative, it sometimes feels like you just want to do your art, and you don't really want to have a regular normal job. So how does it feel for you? Like you said, you're actually glad that you were scared a little bit, but now it seems like you actually enjoy it. Or am I wrong?
Well, I think any kind of person has multiple interests. So even though my passion is art, I've always liked organizing things and having the tasks done and helping others. Yeah. So with this, managing a society, I get to help others. And even though I do Excel and emails, I somehow found some interest in that. It keeps the day interesting, I guess. I'm not doing a bunch of copy paste for 8 hours. So I think having my art stay offline, not as my job, I get to keep it as my passion and do what I want instead of having a boss tell me what to create. Right? Yeah,
that's interesting. If you had to choose, what would you do? If it paid the same?
I would definitely try art. I've never had it, so I don't know what it would feel like. But if I was self-employed and then I could just do it full time and get the same pay or even more, that would be amazing. Yeah, I would choose that.
That's the dream for all of us.
Exactly. Yeah. But there's always that, starving artist. I hated that, and so I tried to make sure I get some kind of business experience, and then try to build my own art business at the same time.
But you also, what you're talking about is learning about business and everything I think is essential to market your art after that, because you learn
definitely
how to do it through that. Mm-hmm. So everything is important.
Yeah, exactly. And before I got this office job, I actually when I graduated from school, I had, I guess, kind of a whole year off where I was trying to get a job, but then I was also like, no, let me, I'm at home, let me build my art business. So I grew a lot of the skills that helped me in my job today that was actually, to build my art, like newsletters, social media, marketing, and how to sell, how to contact customers and stuff like that.
Yeah. Can you talk a bit about, is it all through Instagram that you do your thing, or do people come to you through your website, or how does it? Yeah.
Yeah, I like to tell people that Instagram is my main platform. It's a great way to just show photos, and it's a nice layout of a portfolio of my art. But when people contact me to buy, it's either friends and family. They would just message me. There's also Etsy that brought some money in. But yeah, I think Instagram gave me a lot of the audience, and to be able to be viewed, I guess, around the world through Instagram helped me get contacts from different places.
Yeah. And do you feel that you're also creative on Instagram? Like the way you like do your Instagram and like do your different pictures and everything?
Yeah, definitely. Like, so I create an artwork, and there's so much creative like process that goes into that. But then to photograph it, do you want it like straight on? Do you want it at an angle? Do you want to have a collage of it?
Yeah.
And then captions, a whole other thing. Emojis, like how much emojis you want to put in, and then filters. So it's almost like a whole other art piece when you got to put it online.
Do you give yourself goals to post every week, or?
Yeah, definitely. There's I use a couple websites to help me stay on schedule if
Really?
I could. Yeah. I guess, okay, one that keeps my to-do list, there's a website called Trello. I don't know if you've heard of it.
No.
And then to plan my Instagram is a website called later.com.
Right.
And so when I could, I like to schedule it. I like to have all my to-dos listed. And it helped me. It helped me stay on track, especially when there's no assignments coming from teachers, or, this is my own plan and doing. So I like to keep that list.
So do apps post for you?
Yeah, the website. Yeah, you put in your post, your caption, and they could schedule it, and it'll just go at the time you say. So
basically, you can do it a month earlier, and then just put in the date, and then
do it in my sleep, and then one day I wake up and I'm like, oh, what's all these new likes? And I'm like, oh yeah, I scheduled that.
That's hilarious. That would stress me out though. Like I would feel like, oh, this is in. Sometimes I do my Facebook posts like that, but it's like you're always. I don't know. It was
you gotta wait.
Yeah, you gotta wait. But there's also, what if I did a mistake? What if it's all that would stress me out. So
actually it does help to write it beforehand, almost like an assignment or an essay, right? So you could double check and check your spelling. Whereas, if I just wake up and be like, oh, I feel like posting this, type and go, then there might be spelling mistakes. And
that's true. That's true. Okay, I'll start doing that too.
Yeah, you should.
Well, thank you. Yeah. So let's go back to how it started. First, how did you grow up, and where did you grow up first? Yeah.
Sure. I was born and raised in Montreal. Very, I guess, a supportive, loving family. I got my mom, who's Italian, my dad, who's Chinese, and I'm also the middle child, and got a big sister who I got a lot of support from, and I learned a lot from her. My brother, who's kind of a pain in the ass, but he made me stronger, and we got a special bond.
Right.
That's my house.
So did you grow up with artists, or are you the only one?
I guess I'm the only one. My dad, I guess he has, he's good at drawing. He had a couple of art classes in school, and I think growing up, just seeing him like sketch or doodle with me, I was impressed by his skill, but he never did anything with his art skills. But yeah, even my whole giant family outside of my parents, none of them are artists of any kind.
No? What did they do?
My parents?
Yeah.
My mom is in I guess childcare.
Okay.
She works at a daycare, and my dad does stocks and bonds. I never know the real
Yeah.
title of his work, but yeah, stocks.
That's very different. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did it come about that you, was there an event or something that made you start paint or draw or
I guess like
was
with
it
any
school?
kid,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe. Like what any kid kind of has random drawing as a kid, and people liked it. They just said, "Oh wow, good job, Vicky! You did. This is beautiful. This is nice." You know, goes on the
Right.
fridge or something. And I liked that praise, I guess, and it was something I thought. I'm like, hey, they like it. I'm like, I guess I'm good at this. Let me keep doing it. So it's funny. Sometimes I think back to those days. I'm like, what if I just went into art because people told
Yeah.
me I was good. If they told me I was good in, I don't know, math,
Right.
would I have sticked with that more? But I liked that art is different, and no one else was getting recognized for their art as a kid, and so I stuck to that road. And yeah,
Yeah.
it made me happy. I like doing it, so
Yeah.
that's where it started.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing because you remind me that some people told me that my writing was good and at an early age, and yeah, but it also like I had to do it because I had a big imagination and I just needed to write it out,
Yeah.
and so yeah, I guess for me there's a weird yes, some people told me it was great, but like I would have I feel like I would have done it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so yeah, would you say that you're like you had this big imagination that you would draw and everything?
Yeah, definitely. Like I have a lot of other creative hobbies. I like music. I play the piano and guitar. I
Okay.
like to read and write, and yeah, I think I have a huge imagination. I love to daydream and like imagine a world of like outer space, or I don't
Yeah.
know, things that don't make sense. I love like coming up with those things,
Yeah.
and I always admired looking visual things, nature, the view, or animals, even little things, like just to like zoom into like a little, I don't know, speck. You're just like, whoa, what is this? So
Yeah.
I always, I guess, creative mind is just, I guess the type of art that I do, I guess, was drawing
Yeah.
made the most sense to me, I guess, after I tried out all my other hobbies.
Yeah. What was the difference between you drawing and painting as a child and now? How has your style changed or evolved, or like how did you find your voice basically?
Yeah, I guess as a kid, it's easy. It's whatever you like, you end up drawing.
What were you drawing as a kid?
I guess people, or like the
Or
typical house and the little people, or I like to do animals and flowers and maybe like abstract, just like spinning things that like get
yeah.
big. Yeah, and no, I loved painting too. So if you see my art today, it's always very colorful, and I think that's always been part of me. I love the feeling of paint and the colors. I love vibrant colors, so I think that's what stuck with me throughout all these years. With school, like art school, it challenged me a lot, and it made me have to look at, I guess, the classical artist or like what's modern today. And there's a lot of bizarre art
Yeah.
out there, which made me, I guess, a little lost for a while. But then I went back to myself and had my art style made still with the things that I love and the colors that I love to play with. So.
Nothing stays buried forever, especially not the past.
Yesterday is Not Yet Gone, a mystery novel by Gabriel Veiga, host of the Very Creative Podcast. Available now, paperback and digital. GabrielVeiga.com. Buy it now.
So talk about your style a little bit. So what's your kind of style and how, paint a picture for everyone of how, it came to be.
Sure. This is always the hardest question when people ask me what my art looks like. I love to just go like, here, look. So I guess the number one thing is colorful. I love vibrant, positive things. I never go to dark, gory, or sad stuff. I like it to be a positive thing for people to smile.
Right.
Here, I have this all lined up.
I love this one. Yeah. That's great.
So this is the Zodiac series. Since I'm working full-time, I knew that I can't have a full-time job and forget about my art. So I made this goal. Every month I would create the sign, the Zodiac sign of the month, sort of. So it helped me stay on track and stay creative and such. So here's Aries.
Okay.
Taurus.
I'm Aries. That's good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Taurus. It's the first sign. It's a newborn and the fire element.
Right.
I think they're very, very creative people, so it makes sense. Here's the Gemini.
Okay. What are you?
I'm a Gemini.
Oh. Okay.
So this one, I struggled so much. Here's a little behind the scenes, I guess. I did not post this. When the first one I did was very muddy and cluttered. I had too many colors overlapping, and then I wanted it to be a lot of layers, and then it just got, a big disaster. So when I remade it, I made sure to stay more structured. I did a sketch beforehand instead of doing it freehand. And I paid more attention to the colors and the composition and all the things that they teach you in school to make sure to pay attention to. So that's why I redid it.
And for those listening, if you want to go to YouTube and just see what we're showing, can you plug your Instagram quickly so people can find you?
It's vicwu.art.
Yeah. So you can go see all her fabulous.
Check out my art stuff.
Yeah, and order from her. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what would you say what would you describe your style as? Impressionistic
is a word I like to use.
Yeah.
Also, I guess hopeful. I want it to be relatable to, even though there's a lot of imagination sometimes or improbable. Like I don't take a photograph of a landscape and trees and then replicate it exactly. I like to either tweak the colors or mess up gravity or throw objects where they're not supposed to be, which it makes it fun, still relatable, and I don't know, all those stuff.
That's really cool that you tend to be like to go into positivity and that's really cool. So how did you decide to just stick to the beautiful stuff, the positive stuff? Have you ever done dark stuff?
Yeah, the dark stuff. When I challenge myself to do those things, I kind of scare myself, and I'm like, oh, this is so dark. I'm like, oh, this is so gory.
What's that feeling in you when you're like, are you horrified at yourself? Are you like, I'm a serial killer?
Yeah, no, it feels a bit wrong. I don't know. It doesn't feel like it comes from me. I don't like scary movies or dark music. I know like my teachers are always like, you can't always paint perfect. So I do like to put in flaws, like a flower doesn't have a perfect 5 petals. There could be crooked or like falling apart. But I want to show the beauty of that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
There's perfection and flaws, I feel. Like the definition of perfection is sometimes, most times, not accurate, because there's flaws in everything, and it's
exactly.
how you see the world that makes it perfect, I guess, for you. So yeah, that's really cool. Yeah. So I asked Rosalie what I should have asked you, your friend and my friend, and she was like, one of her questions was like, how is it different, your art in school and in life? How do you feel it's different?
It's funny, before I went to Concordia, there was a day where I could like bring in my portfolio, and one of the art teachers can like tell me how good it is and if I would get accepted to the program. Not officially, but to test it out. And all the things I created from home, he didn't like. And everything that I made in art school at college, he's like, okay, yeah, put that in the portfolio and you might get accepted. Right. And I was really sad from that day. I was like, how could it be that whatever I make in school is what's going to be accepted? Yeah. So now after graduating, I went kind of back to what I love, because you always get these assignments and certain themes and expectations that isn't really you, but you would have to do because it's for your grade. And now that I'm out of school, I feel a little more liberated, and I get to bring back the style that I had. Like these little watercolors, they're like 5x7, would not have been very appreciated in school because it's too small. You have to have like giant poster size canvases that like cannot fit through the door is the size that's expected. But I liked working small, so I'm bringing that back now that I'm out of school. So it is different.
You feel like in school, for me, like it was great learning and great to find, like, because they give you goals and they give you a syllabus and things to follow, rules. So you kind of get used to that, and your art or your work just gets into that, has to follow those things, and you're getting used to that, and you're following that, and you're learning too, which I'm not saying that it's bad at all, school and everything. I'm just saying that when you get out of it, and when you've got that knowledge, and when you followed those rules for a long time, you also want to find freedom again, and in your art and in your work. And so it's, I guess there's no like you have to find a middle ground. It can't be all like, school is there for something because it teaches you about
it made me do things that I wouldn't have done on my own.
Exactly.
And I think that's important. I'm not saying
it makes you discover new styles too.
Yeah, exactly. And if someone came up to me and asked me like, should I go to art school or not, it's up to them. And I think I did enjoy my time there. And it was important to have these challenging assignments, and because it's things you never thought of, and then seeing other people and what they create, it gives you a lot of experience. Yeah.
So you didn't just do art, I assume, like you had other classes.
Like English and
exactly,
complementary and gym.
I feel that's important to like say to people that you have other classes, and those other classes are important to take. You might not see it because you want to do art and you want to like just do that thing that you love, but it's so much education and so much like knowledge that you can draw better, you can paint better, you can write better. For me, act, it's all things that will give you inspiration and will give you a better understanding of the world and the world you want to paint. Exactly. I feel that's important to say also. But you want to find a balance between the two once you're done.
I think one thing I struggled with was while I was in school, I was creating art for school. But I hear other people in my class saying they still draw on the side, creating their own projects on the side. And then I felt that pressure. I was like, oh no, am I not a true artist if I'm not having my own personal projects while I'm also doing art projects for school?
That's interesting.
I don't know if you felt that way too. So.
I invested a lot of time in my personal projects while I was in university, and I had to stop myself. I was writing a lot of scripts, and that's maybe why I got good grades, and I got great grades after like my final year. But like I was so consumed with my dream, and I was so like I wanted to do it all the time. Now I get to do that, without school, but like I should have focused a little bit more on school. But I guess you have to a little bit, because otherwise you're going to lose that fire and that spark. I don't know. Yeah,
there's only a certain amount of creative fuel that you could use in a day, I guess.
Yeah, and you can't be all school and all art. You know, it's it's you have to find a balance, I think. Yeah. So, did you have the support of your parents to become an artist, or?
Yeah, I guess so. They're more like, you could do what you want or whatever makes you happy. I didn't have like big cheerleaders, but they were okay with it.
Yeah.
My mom was.
Did they want you to become a doctor or something?
No. That's a good thing. They didn't put any pressure for any kind of job.
Yeah.
But my mom was more like, what does that do? What kind of job? How are you going to make money from that? And that just made me nervous. I was like, I don't know. Let me figure it out when I can.
I get you, because all my family is business people and financial people, and they're all about like, how do you make money from that? And it's hard to understand for people that haven't done that at all in their career, in their lives. So that's why I'm asking it. That's good that you got it. So were they like, oh, you gotta get a full-time job and then do your art? How did they like approach it?
I think deep down they're happier that I got a regular job.
Oh, really?
I don't know. I think they're okay with whatever I do. I think they're just looking for my overall happiness, if that is with art or not. They'll support me. Yeah.
That's really good. It's really good. So Rosalie told me you did dance too.
Oh gosh.
So talk about that.
She told me she gave you some questions, and that made me really nervous. I did not think she was going to bring up dance.
So you do other art things.
Yeah.
You don't only paint. So what did that? Was that before you started painting and drawing, or
no?
Did that come like at the same time?
Yeah, no. Painting and drawing has always, I guess, been first. Dance, I took it more as a way of being able to work out, but in a fun way.
Yeah.
I used
so you take it as a workout.
Yeah. Like I used to do swimming, and then I stopped that, and then I did dance with her a little bit.
Right. That's why she asked.
Yeah. I never thought of dance as a creative thing. Because it was the moves, you got to follow the steps. I did have one dance class where they're like, okay, you have whatever steps for the first minute, and the last 10 seconds is like freestyle, or you come up with your own moves. And I never connected with that, like to move my body in a certain way to express my creativity. That never clicked. But I love the idea of it, and I see dancers express art in their body. It's really interesting.
Yeah. That's so interesting that you never because you didn't feel that it was right for you. You didn't feel
no, it was just a fun
didn't give you the
thing.
same feeling as painting.
No, Yeah, I don't know. I'm surprised she brought that question. How?
Are you nervous because you brought that question?
No, I never thought dance with my art or help my creativity. That never went together. No.
No?
No.
But it's art. So
yeah, it's still art. Even same with music.
Right.
When I play guitar or piano, it didn't help me get inspired for my paintings, or it was just like another hobby, or like helps me be relaxed and such. It did influence me sometimes. Like I have a painting that is about instruments. I tried to create paintings that represent the feeling of an instrument. Right. It's very hard to explain, and it was very hard to create. But and I think I have a couple of artworks too that had dance elements in it. Right. But it was not from the dancing or from playing the instrument that pushed me to art. It was two separate things, and I get inspired by it. Yeah.
Well, kind of the opposite for me when it comes to like painting and drawing. Like I was the worst student at painting and drawing, but I'm still an artist, which is fascinating. The word terminology. Like I was the worst art student in my class, and I'm still an artist today. So yeah. I found that I was better in dramatic arts. Early on theater. It's crazy. You're like, oh, I'm an artist, but I can't paint, I can't draw. I can do other stuff. Like an artist can be other stuff, you know. It doesn't mean you can do everything.
I think the word is super broad.
And your creativity it's all like, it doesn't mean it's all like concentrated on the thing you love and on the work. Like for me, it's writing. So it's interesting how like it's expressing like how you express your creativity through different things, and for you it's art, and that's it's fun.
So you don't think you express your creativity in different mediums well? It's just writing or acting.
I tried.
I
really wanted to like become like, I think when I was in these art classes in high school, I was looking at everyone's drawings and so good. It was so good. And I was like, I want to do that. Like, art is my thing. But I just couldn't. I was expressing my creativity. Yes, I still enjoyed the class, but the teacher was looking at me and she was like, you can't do it. So like, it was I hated the class because the teacher wasn't behind me and like wasn't letting me express my thing, even if it was bad in her eyes, you know? So it's weird how that happens, that you're like, I want to express myself, but I can't because everybody doesn't like it. Like, no one likes it.
I hate that a lot of people feel that way with art. When I tell them that I draw and paint, and they're like, oh, no, I can't do that. I can't even draw a stick person. But what if you do sit down, and I guess if you get the right teaching, I think it's supposed to be a therapeutic thing, you know, and not just look at the final picture and say it's a masterpiece, because it's very hard to get a masterpiece. So it's more of a therapeutic thing that I think people should concentrate more onto that instead of comparing themselves to other. And
she hated me.
I hate that.
She
don't let
really
her put you down.
And then the teacher, I won't say her name, but I admire her, but because she was great at her job, and I just sucked. But and then she went on in the last year of high school. She went on to teach dramatic arts, drama for the last year, and now I was good. Now I was the best in the class, and now she had respect for me.
That's cool. You got to redeem yourself.
A little bit. I think she still hated me, but yeah. It was just because I was good now.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah, I would always get C's and D's. Yeah, she would call my mom and she was like, yeah, it's not working out. Oh boy. Anyway, so yeah, you talked about art as therapy. Can you explain what that is for you? Like what feeling does art bring you? That was another question by Rosalie, by the way.
Oh, good.
She knows you.
She knows me very well. I knew her
Yeah.
since we were like 5 years old. So
Yeah.
let's see. Yeah, art is if I'm not creating art as a project, it's like it's almost like a different brain you got to turn on when you got to come up with ideas and sit down and create. If you're more there to relax or even let out feelings, like I guess I do have a few dark artworks is when I was really upset, and I have certain art supplies that I could use that I know that it brings out anger, and I could just like jab at a paper or something.
Yeah.
And that just like relieves stress or whatever emotions that I'm feeling, or sometimes when I'm bored and I don't feel like I have any value of the day, I'm just like, okay, you know what, if I create something, I'm like, oh, it's a picture of the plant in my house. I created something today, and it makes me feel better.
Yeah.
So to feel calmer, relieve stress, and complete a goal, even though if it's just a little drawing, it'll help boost your mood.
Right.
Great.
So does it help you escape the real world?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I love that being in the zone when you don't feel time and it's just you and your artwork. It's a beautiful feeling.
Yeah. Do you feel like escaping is dangerous sometimes? Or it's like do you feel like you shouldn't do that?
Depends what you're escaping from. I don't know. I think you do always have to come back to reality and face whatever you're trying to escape.
But you can get caught in escaping all the time, you know, if you really don't like the real world.
I don't know. I like the real world though. It inspires me. So I think art is more, instead of escaping the real world, it's making me be able to daydream and create.
It's fascinating because I'm just thinking about me as a kid, and I would just ate my life being bullied in school and everything, and I just wanted to escape. I just wanted to like make art and just do it all. But you know, it's weird because you got to find, again, it's all about balance. You got to learn about yourself. You got to like learn how to like, oh, I wanted to escape because of that bully and I can't confront them and blah, blah, blah. I'm too weak to do that. Or you feel like that and you just want to escape. Now you're like, is it dangerous to escape and to not face, like, because you're not working on you in the real world. You're working on you as an artist, which is great, but you're not facing something. I
still think you are, when you are escaping, you are coping with whatever you're dealing with and facing your feelings in a different way, you know, to make life hurt less. I think it's a good thing. Because
it's a good thing.
You know, what else could you do to a bully, or when you're having a bad day? What could you really do? But besides just getting through it and doing something you love instead.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Yeah. No, it is. It's good.
Nothing stays buried forever, especially not the past.
Yesterday is Not Yet Gone, a mystery novel by Gabriel Veiga, host of the Very Creative Podcast. Available now, paperback and digital. GabrielVeiga.com. Buy it now.
Let's say you have an art piece that you're doing, but my question, I guess, is how do you start doing a project, an art piece? Where does the inspiration come from, or
Sure.
where?
Yeah, like all the steps I guess I would normally take. Well, I guess the first the inspiration, kind of any kind of theme or topic, and okay, I want to create, I don't know, a podcast, right? And then you come up with the size, you come up with the medium, like what kind of paint or supplies you're going to need. And then
so it just strikes you.
Yeah. And it always lays out the same way, like inspiration and then supplies and then sketches. You always have to sketch it out before, unless if I'm feeling brave, I will just go head on and like start the project. But
do you sometimes do that?
Yeah, I do. But the good thing about painting is that you could always do layers and cover up what you do. It's hard to do with like other like watercolor or drawings because you got to like erase a lot or something.
Yeah.
But it's important to sketch beforehand or get inspiration from the internet or books or something. And then after the sketches, you're like, okay, this looks good. Especially from like on a small scale, you could just get a quick glance and you could imagine it in your head and you're like, okay, yeah, this looks like what I want to create. And so when you do that, and you just go into the steps of, first layer, second layer, the background, and just like build it. And I know in the back of my head, like what the very last touch or like highlights will be. Yeah. Even though I'm not there yet, when people like pass by and they're like, oh yeah, it's nice. I'm like, no, you wait. It's not finished yet. It's going to build. And I could see it at the end, all of it coming together.
Yeah. Are you frustrated when because for me, when I'm writing, I have an image in my head that the ending I want it to look like and what the story looks like, but it never turns out on the page to be the same. So are you frustrated with yourself when you see that and you're like, it's not what I have in my head? What's the process for that for you?
Yeah, I think that's why I stay away from like hyper realistic drawings, because if you have a crooked eye or like a hair sticking out, so you could notice it, and I hate that feeling. So I try to stay away from realistic things.
Interesting.
But when I do get frustrated a lot. I remember my mom used to say like, maybe art isn't for you because you keep getting upset. Like stop creating. I'm like, no, I need this to be perfect.
Yeah.
But it comes to a point where like I almost expect it to not look exactly the same. It's almost a journey, and you deal with the mistakes that you make while you do it, or you might even enjoy the mistakes. You're like, oh, I wasn't meant to do this. I'm like, but it kind of looks good, let me keep working on it. And I'm like, hey, that brought a new element I wouldn't have had before. So I like the imperfections of the process.
So in the early stages, were you more like, oh, I'm going to give up on this because this is not what I want it to look like? Did you learn that about yourself, that you had to kind of let it go and let it flow? Yeah.
It's rare that I give up on an art piece. I usually do stick it out till the end, even though I know halfway it's bad. I'm like, let me just try to fix it. And then I see it at the end. I'm like, no, I couldn't fix it. Let me try again. I don't know. It's a whole part of it, and I enjoy when it's perfect or not perfect, or it's never what you imagine. In your brain too, it doesn't even make sense. Like if I take a shot of my thoughts, is it even possible to bring it out in the world that way?
Because that comes from, for me, because in your head, when you get that spark of inspiration, you want to recreate that on a page, or like on for you it's drawings or paintings, and it's that's your goal, that's your thing that you want to do. And then when you get to it, there's a lot more that goes into it, and there's a lot to, like, it's all about the journey, and you start to understand that all will change, and you might even make it real better, than your initial idea. And that should be your goal, not to reproduce what you had in your head at the first part. Like that gets you going for a little bit, but after you got to be like, oh, it's all about the journey. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to learn. I'm going to hopefully make it better. And you might make it worse than you thought it would be. But I think as long as you do it, and as long as you know what you want to achieve, and even if it's not perfect, you got to go through that journey and be able to be open, I guess. Yeah.
And I enjoy that change. The beauty of like doing sketches or different drafts, you could go back to and be like, oh, this is my initial idea, but look what it turned into. It's fun to see that transition. And it's important, I think, to embrace a change. And even time is passing while you're creating. So you might get inspired by something else during the day, during the month, or whatever, and then tweak it and change it and, make it into something that only makes sense. Like it had to go through its time to get to where it is, even though your initial idea was just that 1 second.
Do you have pieces that were your initial idea? Like turned out almost perfect? Or should I say like what you had in mind first?
Yeah. I can't think of anything right now. No, like the initial idea always changes somehow in the end, or even your idea doesn't have all the details of the whole entire thing. It's only something like when you do it, you end up finding like, okay, how much, how big, how this is gonna go, which color and such. So I don't know. I can't think of an example. No.
Yeah, it's a no for me too. Yeah. So who was your biggest inspiration to make your art? Who did you look up to as a kid, and now who do you look up to?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I should have an answer to that.
It could be multiple people too.
I think it's tough because when it comes to artists or painters, really, I get to know their art more than their faces or their background. And then sometimes I just admire that one specific painting from their, they could have a whole career of art, and then I just like that one. So I don't think I could pick a person because it's usually actual images that I see.
But were you ever like, I see this art and that's exactly that's what I want to do for that's my art. That's kind of my goal,
Yeah, I guess I had a few.
Or an artist,
Mm-hmm. I guess like you could name some like classical, like Van Gogh, or like Klimt. I don't know if you know that one. The Kiss is, I like that painting. Or I don't know, Picasso or Monet or whatever. Those are like, it's that sounds like the dream, right? To be the unforgettable, like top forever. I never wanted that. I admired what they were. I didn't want to be famous. That's one thing. No, I didn't want to be famous. I didn't want everyone to know. Well, I want people to know my name, but no, I don't know. It scared me to be in the spotlight, I guess. I want my art to be in the spotlight, but not me specifically. And then like random people on social media that, someone has like maybe 1,000 followers that they're not really that big, but I admire what they do and I like how they keep working at it. Or even YouTubers have art tutorials, and I'm like, yeah, that looks like the dream to teach and be happy, or to I don't know. Yeah, my dream kept changing when I was growing up too. So
what was your dream? What's your goal now, I guess?
Yeah, when I was growing up, I wanted to to be in animation. I love the Disney animation. Yeah, sometimes there's like that extra video at the end of the movie where they show you how they draw it. I was like, yeah, I want that job. The guy who draws the characters, or imagine if you were the next, you made the next, I don't know, Frozen or Cinderella or something. That I wanted my name to be in the credits of a Disney movie.
So what changed?
I guess technology.
Because that sounds amazing.
I know. It still sounds like I still kind of want that deep down, but I'm actually very intimidated by technology today, like animation.
Right.
Everything is 3D now, and it's more about learning all these programs. And it's only recently that I learned Photoshop, and I don't even enjoy using it that much. I do have like the iPad with the pencil.
Yeah.
But that too. It's weird because it's not paper and objects that I'm used to. It's all computer, and then to learn all the shortcuts and the filters, and it was really intimidating. And I'm like, no, I don't know. I'm too late to the game. I don't want to learn computer stuff, so I kind of...
But you don't have to. You don't have to. You could be doing like what Tim Burton is doing and just do your own like animation through like motion. Yeah. What is it called? Motion?
Stop motion?
Stop motion. Exactly. Yeah. You could do that with drawings too. You could go the old fashioned way and make great movies too.
Yeah. I tried that too, actually.
You don't have to work for Disney.
Yeah.
Or you can pitch something that involves that, and be like filmmakers. I just want to shoot on film,
Yeah. I do feel very lucky too, also to be in Montreal. Is such a big art scene. You just go to Place des Arts and you could get inspired. Like there's always artists around there.
Yeah. Because to explain to people, like animation now is like very 3D and very like it's basically like all through the computer. And back in the day, like you watch Disney, like there's this Disney documentary, I don't know the name, but it's like they show you that it's frame by frame, it's drawings. And was that the dream?
Yeah, I thought I would enjoy that, but I think it's more like the character creation.
Okay.
Or even the background or the landscape or the houses or something. The repetition of creating, like doing the movement of the characters, I tried that and I didn't enjoy it. I was like, I did it once, or I love this character. I'm like, okay, that's it. I don't want to keep have them blink and move their arm. It looked very tedious, and you got to really be in a rhythm to keep drawing the same person.
Yeah. That always, like, because I never wanted to do that, but like if I was going to go into that profession and just draw an entire movie, that would, I feel like, one, it would get boring because you're drawing the same thing all the time, but you also, it's stressful because you got to get it, like, it's the same drawing, so you have to get it perfect every time, I guess. I don't know how it works, but that would scare me. That would scare me.
It has to be good. Like all I did was, like the rolling ball, or I did something with a balloon once. And just doing a circle over and over again. I was like, no, how could I, make this circle become a person, and then like to make them move it.
And then make them speak.
Yeah, it takes a really long time. So I decided no. I'm not going to go down that route. So.
Yeah. Would you still be open to like if the opportunity came along and you wanted to, someone knocked at your door and they were like, oh, you want to do animation? Would you say yes?
Yeah, I think I would definitely like to learn it. It was tough because I think everything in school requires you to have some kind of experience of it beforehand. I was like, how am I supposed to get into animation school if I've never done animation? And they expect it to already be a skill that you have. So if someone comes up and say, hey, you want to learn, then I'll give it a shot.
Yeah. So what was the first Disney movie that you saw and you were like, oh, this is really what I want to do?
I can't remember the first I know that I love the art of Tangled, Rapunzel.
Yeah.
That I love the scenery of that and the colors, her long
That's
hair.
computer, right?
Yeah, that's computer. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure, yeah. But it's the initial sketches that are always still the like traditional drawing that is also nice.
Yeah.
I don't think there was a specific movie. Like I always loved like Beauty and the Beast or Little Mermaid. They're good classics, and I remember seeing like the behind the scenes of they have like the sculptures as well, and having all the artists around creating this story sounded like a dream.
Yeah. So what's your goal now without talking about animation?
I guess now is to be able to create the art that I want to make and have an audience that would, or audience, clients or people who would want to
it's an audience.
purchase, to purchase my art. I know in art school it was mainly about going into museums, like being successful and being
nice
in a
too.
museum and selling it.
Yeah,
that was nice too. But it was a little too I don't know, high class or bougie, and you gotta be like, this is exquisite artwork, like you have to be a certain class or something to
I mean, it could happen.
Yeah, it could happen. But
do you really have to be like bougie? I think that people that are seeing it are more high class, I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't think the artists think that way.
Yeah, no, you're right. The artist doesn't, but you need somebody who would want to buy your art for thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And you need those connections and to network with people. And I'm starting from zero. Like I don't know anyone who would want to buy it. Like I had a friend, I'm not going to say, who really loved my painting, and they're like, oh my God, I want to buy it. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. It'll be like a few $100s. And she's like, oh, my budget is $50. I'm like, what? $50? I'm like, no. I'm like, this thing, it could cover your whole wall, and it's an original, one of a kind. Like,
it
took so much time to make. So that also discouraged me, right? Like if all my friends and family, wouldn't want to spend the money, I wouldn't want to spend the money either. Like, $5,000 on an artwork sounds crazy. So I'm thinking more budget, or like if I'm the customer, how much money would I spend? So I'm thinking like prints and T-shirts and, but I love commissions as well. Like someone comes up to me and say, hey, I want a painting this size.
Yeah.
What's the budget? I'm like, okay, I'll go and create it. And that's been fun as well.
Well, you never know. People are weird. Someone might come up to you and say, "Oh, I want that for free, $500 or whatever." I think it's all about who you find and what, like the point of view of the people that you like. If someone just might fall in love with your things, and they might be like, "Oh, okay, I want it," but they can't take advantage of you either. They gotta respect that it's your work and it's your job and it's what you care about, and you're not just someone who makes art and because they're your family members or your friend that it's going to be cheap. It's that's the dream.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's kind of weird to I get that. So we have a game on this podcast that's called the Feel Good Game. But first, my before we do that, actually, my question is, what do you do when do you feel like sometimes your art consumes your mind and you're just frustrated by a project or something and you just want to get away from it? And what do you do?
Yeah, I guess sometimes you could overthink it and look at every little detail. And I think it's important to take breaks and look at it from afar and just, I guess, reflect what you do. I think, it's part of it to feel that way. And when you step back, think about what you do, and rest on it, like wait the next day or something, and then you could wake up refreshed and with new eyes, and it'll
So
give
do
you
you
a
have
new
a
energy.
routine that you feel like, oh, I'm just gonna go run or go walk, or is there something that you do that that will get you off that thought or try to?
I think I just take the break for the day, like
Or
I
does
usually
your job do that for you?
by yeah. No, I think it's just it's time. I think time is the thing. So when I work on it for 3 or 4 hours, your eyes get tired, your body gets tired, your brain. So I just pack it up for the day, and then if I feel like doing it the next day, that's when I continue. I don't think there's an activity I do necessarily.
Yeah.
It's just more like break, do something else, wait the next day or two, and then come back to it.
So you can take a break. You
Yeah. I like, if I don't have a deadline that's, have to have it done that night, I'm good at, giving myself the time. It's a delicate thing. I think creativity, you shouldn't take it too seriously too.
right.
Yeah. Give
So
yourself the time.
you're
Yeah.
not obsessive about it. You don't just return to it over and over and try to fix a mistake.
No.
For me, it's really hard to take breaks and to just it's
Yeah. Well,
now I have a dog, and I just walk her, and that makes like something to do. But like I've learned over the years to not get obsessive about it, but it's hard for me to not like return to the computer and fix the mistake. I want to do it now. I want to figure it out now.
When you're in the zone, it's like that's all you think about. But it's important to like shift your brain and give yourself another activity to make sure you don't stress about it too much.
So is there a feel-good movie that you have that makes you
feel good movie
or escape or something that you would watch anytime?
And I have Tangled in my head because I brought it up. Any Pixar movie I like to watch too. Yeah, I'll just go at any Pixar is my...
Any Pixar?
Yeah.
Okay. Tangled is Pixar, right?
No, it's not. If you want to figure out like if it's Pixar or not, it's if you think like, is it a movie that made you cry?
Yeah. There's one Disney that's weird about like, it's a princess, but it's Pixar. Is it the redhead?
Brave?
Yeah, I think that's Pixar.
Maybe.
Let me just look it up quickly.
Yeah.
Because there's one that's really Pixar. It's not important for the podcast, but...
But yeah, Pixar makes you cry. That's how you know.
Okay, that's how you know. Let's just see. Pixar movie. Okay, list of Pixar films. Yeah, it's Brave. That's Pixar.
Okay, yeah.
So that's kind of weird, I don't know. Does it make you cry, that movie? I don't know.
I guess when the mom, I don't know, does she sacrifice herself? Or,
oh, yeah.
I don't know. She's a bear, right? And then they have to make her back to human. But then there's like a moment where you don't think it's going to happen. And she says like a loving message.
Yeah.
It's not that teary, but yeah.
How did you figure that out, that Pixar makes you cry?
I don't know. I think someone told me. They're like, if it's Pixar, you're going to, go in the theater and cry. Like there's Up, or Toy Story 3 was really sad. And
yeah. Did Onward make you cry?
Onward? Did I watch it? Is that the little elves thing?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think I cried, but yeah, there was a sad moment towards the end, but no, I didn't cry for that one.
Yeah. I'll see it. Yeah,
good,
that's interesting.
Like
I'll
Coco
see if
too?
Yeah, Coco. It's great.
Coco, yeah.
It's really great. Okay, do you have a feel-good TV show?
Ooh, TV show. I've been watching...
Something that you can watch on any time.
Yeah, I've been rewatching Modern Family, which is fun. For some reason, I'm thinking the show, it's called Being Erica. And she...
Never heard of that.
She kind of travels through time and like moments in her life that she wasn't too proud of, or she made a mistake or something, she gets to like travel. I don't know. It's a Canadian Canadian TV show, and I really enjoyed it, and I like to rewatch it sometimes.
Being Erica, okay.
Being Erica, yeah.
Do you have a feel-good book?
I enjoy Little Women. I recently read it last year or so. Yeah, I love it. I think it's like one of my favorites now. I don't know. I don't reread books, but I think maybe one day I'd like to revisit it a few years later. Yeah.
A feel-good song.
Ooh, song. Okay, so I think my song that came to mind is called "Make a New Dance Up."
Okay.
By a band called Hey Ocean. They're from Vancouver or British Columbia.
Yeah.
It's a fun dance song that I like to put on. Oh, also another one, Raspberry Beret by Prince. Right. That too, I love to like dance to, like gets you feel good.
Yeah, that's good. That's great. Okay, where can people find you, and if they want to contact you to get your art?
I get my main platform I'm active on is Instagram at vicwoo.art. But also, I guess, Facebook. I also have a Etsy shop, a website. But yeah, I guess the easiest one is to go there. So vicwoo.art, and then I'll have all the links to my other stuff there.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for doing this podcast.
Thank you for
having me. I know you were a little nervous. You did fantastic.
Thank you.
Honestly. And I think people are really going to enjoy it because, for me, I enjoyed it because I know nothing. I'm really bad at drawings and paintings. So it's kind of awesome to know that it's the same like imagination and the same, you go on a journey. And,
I hope you're still able to relate to it, or.
Oh no, it's great. Yeah, and it's fun to learn about it, and it's fun to see that you're passionate about it, and I really appreciate you for coming on this podcast.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
No problem. All right, see you soon.
Yeah, you too.
Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to The Very Creative Podcast with Gabriel Veiga. Catch us next week for an all-new episode. To find out more, go to gabrielveiga.com/podcast and follow us on social media at The Very Creative Podcast. To watch on video, go to YouTube and search for The Very Creative Podcast and subscribe. See you next week.